If I get to be a gym leader in every Pokemon game, how would I go about doing that? What would my team look like, and what kind of gym challenge would I offer? Well, let's find out. Before we start though, there are some rules that I'll be following, just so that I have some sort of structure to work with. First up, rule number 1. My gym type specialty cannot be a type that already exists in the game, either from a gym leader or an Elite Four member. For example, in Generation 1, since Brock is the Rock type gym leader, that means I cannot pick Rock as my type specialty. Rule number 2, my team of Pokemon should be Pokemon that can be obtained naturally within the region. There is an exception to this rule, and only when it comes to rematches. Since rematches occur post getting the National Dex, by then the main adventure is practically over, so I think it's fair game. Rule number 3. I'll match the number of Pokemon with the final gym leaders of every Pokemon game. For example, in the Kanto region, I'll have 5 Pokemon because Giovanni has 5 Pokemon on his team. Furthermore, I'll be giving you guys my full team as if I were the 8th gym leader. In case you guys want to scale down my team, if I were one of the previous gym leaders in line, you could easily do so by devolving or taking out some of my Pokemon. So, with the rules all set to go, let's start with the Kanto games. That would be red, blue, and yellow, along with fire red and leaf green. If a gym leader were to suddenly poof out of existence, the types that would be available are bug, flying, and normal type. Out of these 3, I like flying type the most, so I would be a flying type gym leader. Well, technically my specialty would be bird type Pokemon since there were no pure flying types in Generation 1. Technicality aside, as a gym leader, the gym puzzle or gym challenge is just as important as my team of Pokemon. With the limitation of the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance in mind, I think a good challenge would be a find the right path kind of challenge. Now the gym is set up to look like you're on top of the clouds, so a bit of skydiving needs to be involved. As the challenger, you must fall through the clouds like in a Minecraft dropper map. If you find the right path, you get to me. If not, you battle one of my trainers and have to do it again. Now, I would probably have 2 to 3 trainers in the gym, with each of them showing off a different bird on their team. Speaking of teams, my team would consist of Farfetch, Pidgeotto, with Fearow and Dodrio, along with Pidgeot as my ace. Generation 1 is pretty easy to build a team around, mainly because there's only a handful of Pokemon in each type. On that note, I know Pidgeotto and Pidgeot are repeats, but hey, if you take a look at all of the Gen 1 bosses, pretty much most of them have repeats on their team, so I think this is fine. Now, the whole point of taking on a gym is so that you could eventually earn that shiny badge. A badge is a sign of achievement for the challenger, so of course I would have my very own badge to give out in every game. For defeating me in Kanto, I would reward the challenger with the wing badge. Heading into the Johto games, which are Gold, Silver, and Crystal, as well as the remakes Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Now keep in mind, I won't be including the Kanto gym leaders in my used type charts because, well, they're all in the post game, and I just want to stay within the main adventure in Johto. With that said, the unused type this time around are Ground, Fire, Water Grass, and Electric. For Generation 2, I see myself as a ground type gym leader. Now, the gym is set up to look like a large sandpit with a bunch of burrows spread throughout the room. As the challenger, you must find and chase after a Diglett who will eventually dig a path straight to the gym leader. There will be rumblings in some of these burrows, giving you a hint of where the Diglett might be. Furthermore, there will be trainers hiding in some of these burrows. If you run into them, you battle them, and the burrow gets closed off. This should, in theory, narrow down where the Diglett could run off to, making it way easier to find. Now, with the gym challenge aside, Generation 2 has some pretty underrated ground-type Pokemon that I would love to show off here. My full team in Gold, Silver, and Crystal would consist of Gligar, Quagsire, and Marowak, along with a Donphan as my ace. In the remakes Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you could rematch the gym leaders, and here I would have 3 new changes to my team. First, I would let my Gligar evolve into Gliscor, then add in Flygon and Hippowdon to the team as well. Now, if you're wondering why I don't have Steelix or Piloswine on the team, well, that's because I don't want to overlap with the other gym leaders like Jasmine or Price, and this is going to be a key factor to how I'll be building my teams for the rest of the video. So, for defeating me in the Johto region, the challenger would be awarded the Seismic Badge. Moving into the Hoenn region with Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. along with the remakes Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. My choices in this generation are Grass, Bug, and Poison. While Bug and Poison types have some pretty good Pokemon, I think being a Grass type gym leader would fit me the most in this region. We'll get straight into this one. The setting for the gym is a gigantic tree with the trunk carved into a community of homes. As the challenger, you start from the very bottom of the tree and must make your way up to the top. There will be shifting branches that would occasionally connect to form a path so that you can move up the tree. Wind currents would blow every few seconds, shifting the branches to a different spot. If you guys are familiar with the Harry Potter movies, I got this idea from the shifting staircases. I think for the GBA, this should be a pretty doable gym puzzle. With that said, as for my Pokemon, in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, my full team would consist of Roselia, Blossom, along with Cordeli and Breloom, with a Tropius as my ace. In Pokemon Emerald, it'll be pretty much the same, but for the rematch, I would add in an Executor. As for the remakes, Roselia would then evolve into a Roserade. Now, as a bit of a side thing, if I can just pick out where my gym would be located, hands down, Fortress City would make the most sense. I mean, a city among the trees is a perfect place for a Grass-type gym leader like myself. Anyways, for defeating me in the Hoenn region, the challenger will get the Woodland Badge. Generation 4 is the Sinnoh region with Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. The types that would be available are Normal, Dragon, Dark Poison, and Flying. Out of all of these, I think I would have the most fun with the Poison type. Now, Dragon type was a huge contender, but my ace would have been a Garchomp, and well, that's Cynthia's ace, and I really didn't want to take that away from her. Now, when it comes to the gym challenge, first up, the gym is designed like a chemical research lab that has been overtaken by poisonous fumes. Your goal as the challenger is to get to the deepest room where I'll be waiting. There will be fans on every walls of the room blowing gas clouds to certain spots every few seconds throughout the chamber. So it's up to the challenger to get the timing down to move from safe spot to safe spot. Visually, I think this would be a pretty awesome gym puzzle. Anyways, when it comes to building my team, I avoided picking the typical sticky, slimy, or oozy kinds of Pokemon. Furthermore, I wanted my Pokemon to poison while attacking their opponents instead of just sitting back and toxic stalling the whole time. So what my team ended up with is a Crobat, Tentacruel, Skuntank, and a Toxicroak as my ace. In Pokemon Platinum, I would get a rematch team with 5 Pokemon, and here I would have Drapion join the team. Now, I initially had a Drapion on the regular team, but decided against it because, well, it's Aaron's ace, and it's actually an unconventional surprise for his team. So, timeline-wise, Drapion will join the team after the player have faced off with Aaron for the first time. Anyways, for defeating me as a Poison-type gym leader, the challenger will get the Corrosive Badge. Next up is the Unova region with Pokemon Black and White, as well as Black 2 and White 2. Of course, we start with Pokemon Black and White 1. This was kind of a fresh start for the mainline Pokemon series because, well, for the first time, you could not obtain any of the older Pokemon naturally until you got the National Dex. With that said, the types that are available are Fire Grass, Water Steel, Rock, and Ground. As a Unova gym leader, I was specialized in the Steel type. The setting for the gym would look like the inside of a machine with cogwheels or gears linking together. As the challenger, your job is to form a path from one gear to the next by simply rotating them with red or blue switches scattered throughout the room. Of course, some of these switches have trainers guarding them, so you could either battle them and get access to the switch right after, or you could change the direction of where the trainer is looking by standing on an unguarded switch. That decision is entirely up to you. Now, in this generation, gym leaders have at most 3 Pokemon on their teams, so here, my team would consist of a Ferrothorn and a Durant, with my ace being a Klinklang. Since there are no rematch options in Black and White's 1, for defeating me, the challenger will receive the Gear Badge. Now, Black and White 2 are a thing, and for the first time since Generation 2, they are proper sequels. The types that are available for BW2 are Fire, Grass, Ice Steel, and Rock. Now, I could very well be the Steel type gym leader again, but it's been 2 years since Black and White 1, so let's give my character some development. First up, out of all of the available types, I would now be a Fire type gym leader. Of course, my gym would change during these 2 years as well. The gym setting would go from a machinery factory to more of a foundry. Now, inside the gym, there will be a path of conveyor belts leading to the gym leader. There are gaps in between these conveyor belts with either lava or water sitting in them. When water and lava are combined, they harden into a platform. The red and blue switches makes a return for this challenge, and as the challenger, you must fill in the gaps in order to advance. Blue switches pour in water, while red switches pour in lava. Now, admittedly, this is another Minecraft reference since I got the idea from creating obsidian with lava and a bucket of water. Anyways, moving on to my team of Pokemon, I would have Camerupt, Heatmor, Volcarona, and my ace would be a Darmanitan. As for the rematch, I would add in a Flareon and then a Magmortar to the team. For defeating me as a Fire-type gym leader, I would give out the Lava Badge. Moving into Generation 6 with Pokemon X and Y. We are now in the Kalos region, and my choices of types are Normal Dark, Ghost Ground, Poison, and Flying. Here, I would be a Dark-type gym leader. For the setting of the gym, inside there are dim spotlights that lights up key areas, while the rest of the gym is shrouded in darkness. Sitting in these dim-lit spots are shadowy figures, one of which being me, the gym leader, and the others are just trainers disguised as my shadow. As the challenger, you must find which one is the real me. For every trainer you defeat, you get a hint to where I would be. Since Pokemon X and Y makes a bunch of references to the older Pokemon games, this puzzle is a tribute or callback to the Fuchsia City Gym puzzle in Generation 2. Of course, this time around, I put my own twist on it. Now, as for my team of Pokemon, well, I would have a Zoroark and a Crocodile, along with Malamar and a Pangoro as the ace, if Megas aren't included. Speaking of Megas, Gen 6 is popular for introducing Mega Evolutions. However, despite this awesome new feature, barely anybody took advantage of it, gym leaders included. So, since the gym leaders are so underutilized in these games, I'll make an exception for Generation 6 and add in my own twist. As a Dark-type gym leader, I would love it if Mega Tyranitar is my ace. Anyways, as a Kalos gym leader, I would reward challengers with the Eclipse Badge. As we head into Generation 7 with Pokemon Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon. This generation is very different in that it doesn't have any gym leaders. Instead, it has Island Trials and Grand Trials. Island Trials are pretty much the gym puzzles, whereas the Kahunas from the Grand Trials are basically the gym leaders of Gen 7. Now, here in the Alola region, the unused types are Psychic, Ice, Bug, and Poison. Since Island Trials and Grand Trials are completely different fights with their own type specialty, this time around, I will pick out two types. For the Island Trials, I will loosely base my challenge off of the Psychic type, and by that, I just means I'll have a Psychic type totem Pokemon. My actual challenge will involve collecting the 4 different nectars from the 4 main islands from the region. By bringing together the red, yellow, purple, and pink nectars, a totem Panu style Oricorio will appear for a dance. This is the psychic form of Oricorio, and throughout the battle, it will call in the other 3 forms to help it out. Now, Oricorio by itself, it's not that threatening. However, it has the ability Dancer, which could be dangerous during double battles if left unattended. If 2 Pokemon with Dancer are on the field, they could very well copy each other's dance move and use it back to back immediately, essentially giving them 4 attacks per turn. Of course, if the challenger is able to overcome this trial, they will get to face off with the Kahuna for the Grand Trial. Now, as a Kahuna, I would specialize in Ice-type Pokemon, and my team would consist of both Alolan Ninetales and Alolan Sandslash, along with Crabominable as my ace. Later on, I would make a return as an Elite Four member, so on that team, I would also have Frostlass and Vanillux as well. Now, Generation 7 doesn't have any gym badges, and instead, you get the Z Crystals. So, I guess in this case, the challenger would get the Psychic and Ice Z Crystal from my Islands and Grand Trials. Generation 8 with Pokemon Sword and Shield. Here we have the return of the gym leaders, only this time there are Major League Gym Leaders and Minor League Gym Leaders. Out of the available types, my options are Normal, Electric, Psychic with Steel, Bug, Poison, along with Ground, Dragon, and Flying. This is actually a lot of types, so let's narrow it down. Now, I don't mind getting rid of the Ground and Dragon type, since Raihan, the 8th gym leader, has a mixture of both on his gym team and Champion Cup team. Furthermore, in the Isles of Armor, the Psychic and Poison type belongs to Avery and Clara respectively, who are both minor league gym leaders. Steel is also taken as it belongs to Peony from the Crown Tundra, who is technically a former gym leader. Now, that should leave me with the Normal, Electric, Bug, and Flying types, so for the Galar region, I would love to be the Electric type gym leader. Now, I'm going to keep my gym challenge pretty simple here. I would have the challenger restore power to the arena's generator by rerouting electrical currents throughout a network of switches, panels, and bridges. With the challenge out of the way, my team would consist of a Pinchurchant and Boltund along with a Manectric. My ace would be a Toxicity with the amped up form to be specific. Now, Generation 8 introduces Dynamax and Gigantamax forms as the gimmick, and it just so happened that Toxicity has access to a Gigantamax form. So naturally, I would have G-Max Toxicity as my Bossmon. Moving on, the Champion Cup serves as a tournament where you could rematch the Gen 8 gym leaders, and in here, I would add in Vikavolt to the team. Badges makes a return to Generation 8 as well, but unfortunately, they don't get unique names. All of them are named after what type the gym leader specializes in, so I guess it's a bit boring, but I would just give out the Electric Badge. Finally, we get to Generation 9 with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Since there is a badge for pretty much every type in the game, to make it simple for myself, I'm going to exclude the Team Star members as well as the Titan Pokemon so that I could have more options to work with. Anyways, the available types from this generation are Fighting, Fire, Dark, Steel, Rock, Poison, and Fairy. Here, I would be a Fighting type gym leader, mainly because there are some pretty cool Pokemon that I would love to show off. Before we get to the Pokemon though, let's talk about the gym challenge. First, boxing comes to mind, but more specifically, a boxing minigame based on Final Fantasy VII. Of course, for a Pokemon game, it should be a more simplified version of that boxing minigame. I was thinking instead of striking back at the opponent, the challenger would just need to duck or dodge strikes altogether. If they successfully dodge 3 strikes, they get to move on to the next round. Surviving 3 rounds would let the challenger face off with the gym leader. Alright, with the gym challenge accounted for, when it comes to my Pokemon, first up, I would have a Flamingo, then a Paldea and Tauros, and then a Palmont. Terrestrialization is the gimmick for Generation 9, and with it, you could basically change the type of your Pokemon once per battle. Here, I think a Scizor with the Fighting Terra type would be perfect as my ace. I have 2 reasons for this. First up, Scizor can learn some pretty good fighting type attacks anyways, like Close Combats, Reverso, and Vacuum Wave. My second reason is, well, aesthetically speaking, those pincers looks like a pair of boxing gloves, so this was the perfect opportunity to have Scizor be a fighting type Pokemon. Now, when you get to the Blueberry Academy DLC, you are able to rematch the gym leaders, so here I would add in Annihilate to round out my rematch team. To wrap it all up, there are badges in Scarlet and Violet. They're predominantly named on which province or city you get them in, so if I get to choose my base of operation again, I would pick the northmost area of the map where Castle Royale Lake is, and simply call the badge the Castle Royale Badge. Alright guys, that is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you can please help out the channel by liking this video and hitting the subscribe button, that will be very much appreciated. Anyways, I think I'll end it here. I'll see you guys in the next one.